Hello, Tushita to everybody here and online. I think there was a small logistical issue, so we're starting a little late. So I think I'm seeing you both for the first time. You guys are aware about like setting a motivation, or this is your first time to any such center. Can you hear me? Yeah. It's your first time. Okay. All right. So I just spend like a few seconds explaining. We have a person here, she's come first time to any Buddhist center. So what we do before we start, we set like a good motivation. Okay, setting a motivation is like, very simple example. Let's say if you want to go from Delhi to Kanyakumari, like southmost point in India, if you want to, but you set your motivation, let's say that you want to go only till, let's say, Gwalior, somewhere in the middle. So you'll not reach your destination, right? So it's kind of motivation is what gives you the energy to complete your task, right? And here we're setting a motivation which is like something which we have to learn and open ourselves, that we can achieve something like 100% genuine happiness all the time. It's not like a fleeting happiness. So something like that we've explored in the last two sessions. I'll try and revise. So let's take a few seconds. We quieten our minds. We try and bring our awareness to the present moment. All your worries, all your hurts and pains are related to either past or future. Being in the present moment and training our mind to be in the present moment itself is quite a healing thing. Okay, so just take 3 deep breaths and let go of the past, not to think about the future, to your best ability. Now we set a good motivation that whatever we do in this session, may it become like a deep cause for our genuine happiness, and that too infinite happiness. We all have that potential, and to fulfill that potential, the only way to reach is that we have to generate a mind which aspires that may I become like a fully awakened being for the sake of all sentient beings. It's okay if we do not understand the full import of this motivation, but this is very wholesome, very beneficial for myself and all, leaving none aside. Now let's recite one verse from Arya Nagarjuna's Mula Madhyamika Karka, the homage verse. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. So, all right. So with that, let's start the session. So this is the third and the final session in the series. We are exploring Buddha's teaching the Four Noble Truths, and we are on one side we have the Four Noble Truths, and other side we're exploring genuine happiness. So what we did in the last two sessions, a quick recap. Sometimes when we go to these Dharma talks or we read a book, we often make it quite esoteric. Okay, make it like quite complicated. This is transcendental. Of course, the esoteric part is there. But I think we should keep as much possible in life, try and keep things simple. So, and simple and empirical, right? And then easier said than done. Life is complicated, world is complicated, our issues are complicated. But if we are able to connect to the basic, simple things, often clarity of thought slowly arises. So the simplicity here is that what are we looking for, right? Not only me, all human beings, all sentient beings, they look for two basic aspirations. I don't want any misery whatsoever, and I want happiness. And then we can ask secondary questions, what degree? So, here we're talking about that we can achieve a state where we'll have zero miseries and infinite happiness forever. This is quite a revolutionary thought, because if you go to modern science, counseling, psychiatrists, no offense to them, they will say if you like an angry person, you have to manage your anger. If you are this kind of personality, you have to manage it. They don't talk about like transforming from within to, become something like which we've not even thought about in our dreams. Okay? So, and then we also explored that we don't have to take everything on face value because I'm saying, or you read a book, or you saw it in a video. You have to be objective. Don't accept easily. Don't reject easily. If you start with a rejection, hey, what is he saying? Infinite happiness. That's not possible. In fact, I just had a word with my sister, real sister. She has come to meet me. She doesn't believe. We almost had an argument on this. What are you talking? Nobody can be perfect. Then I just told her, I said, okay, if you don't want to believe, that's fine. Don't start with this, nobody can be perfect. Be a little open. Is it possible? Perfection. And then you explore, and then you come to your own conclusion, say, yeah, it's not possible. But if you start with, I don't believe this, you'll not even explore. Right? So that's the way it is. You should explore. So this was the basic theme. And always in life, which I've found personally very, very helpful, where I feel very confused, extremely challenging situations, I try and recollect, what is my aspiration? What am I doing? And then my decision making may not be perfect, but at least it helps me in my decision making, that these are my basic aspirations. Then I should take steps towards that direction. And in many cases, I may not be able to take steps in that direction, but at least I don't want to take a step in the opposite direction. Right? Those are two different things. I don't want to do things which I know will necessarily cause me suffering. Then I should at least step back and say I'm not taking any action. Not taking a negative action is also a good action. Right? So those are the things that we explored, aspiration, and then we also explored what is happiness. Right? And the questions I asked is that, is there in your life that you've experienced something that you can say for sure that was so satisfying that I don't need to experience it again? Who was it? I think the Smithy was there. She's not there online today. So I hope she's eating her cake, because we explored her cake very, very, dissected the cake in various ways. And I was worried, I hope she doesn't drop her cake. So anyway, so if you eat a piece of cake, then, what happens? Is it that, okay, I had my cake, my favorite cake, and I don't need it for life? I'm satisfied? Is that our experience? Of course, it's happiness. We can't question that. I liked it, I had it. But we're exploring the nature of things and nature of our experiences, right? The nature is not in happiness. If it was in happiness, you have it once, fine. And then the other is that the more you have it, you should be like feeling more joy out of it, if it's in nature of happiness. At one stage, she herself said that I'll feel like puking, it will like be a poison, right? So the more you partake in it, and whatever your positive experience, happiness, if it increases, then it's in nature of happiness. And there are many other aspects. We can spend like few sessions just exploring this. But due to limitation of time, we explored it with a limited fashion to open us. Yeah, I am looking for a good job. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. Okay, fine. Then you have to ask a secondary question, why? 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 And at one stage you will come that because it makes me happy. Then nobody will be able to question you. That's your individual experience, individual aspiration, and everybody has that. And everybody has a right to fulfill it. Okay. So then, talking about such big things like, okay, infinite happiness, zero misery, what if we don't have the potential? Then it becomes a theoretical thing, right? So what we learned, we all have the potential, something we may not get conviction in 2-3 sessions. This is something to explore. It's called the Buddha nature within us. Buddha, there's nothing ism about it. Buddha, the Sanskrit word is a fully awakened being. And this word is quite appropriate for today's session, because we're going to explore the third seal, a fully awakened person. What does it mean? Awakened from what? And why is that Buddha is a fully awakened being and we are not fully awakened right now? Okay. And then we also explored, that the basic, why is that we don't experience this infinite happiness if we have the potential? Because we have something within us which is blocking it, and to remove it, we have to put effort. If you don't put effort, it's not through miracles or blessings that will happen. Okay. So yeah, there were many other points, but I think I'm just summarizing that we explored in the last two classes. That then we explored the first two seals in the last session. What are the four seals? All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are in nature of suffering. Everything is in nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. And what we explained the first two, all composite things. Composite is made of, necessarily some parts. So if I presented it simply, anything that you interact with through your senses, and not necessarily only those things, there are other things also, but just as an example, anything that you interact with your senses, they necessarily will fall through in composite. They're going through moment by moment change. There's an impermanence. There are two, gross and subtle, right? So the subtle one is like moment by moment right now in our body. There are billions of cells which are dying and being regenerated. We don't experience it right now. My nails are growing, my hair are growing, but I don't experience it right now. But after a few weeks, few days, I'll come to know my nails have grown. I need a haircut. Those are very simple examples that we can relate to, right? And those simple examples may sound quite innocuous, nothing, no issues at all. But, let's say you are hit with some kind of an illness. Right? We explored some very, very difficult illnesses as examples of real life, that somebody, is quite fine and suddenly overnight something happens and they wake up and they are in hospital, right? Why does this happen then? Because nature of things is, such composite things is to change, momentary change. It's not, there is an external agent controlling and saying that, okay, this does not change, this change. If it's composite, it changes. That's its nature, And those composite things, if you are not aware, one of the composite things that we, something that on this path, if you want to embark on this path of infinite happiness and zero miseries, is something that we should reflect on. One of the gross impermanence which all of us will face is death, right? So it's not something inauspicious. Some people may consider this as inauspicious, but it's a fact of life. I don't talk about it, then is it that we will not face death? Or somebody doesn't talk about it, is it that we'll not face death? We may have seen in our family, close circle, we've heard about it, we may have even gone to funerals, but then the real thing is it will happen to me, right? And then it's not like it's the end. Some people believe it's the end, no, there is rebirth. So, and to establish rebirth, there are other reasons and other things. So, even if you don't believe in rebirth, then we can start with, if there is rebirth, what if there is rebirth? What will happen to me? Where will I go? Right? Let's say, I often give this example in my discussions or talks, that if you knew about COVID lockdowns, how would you have behaved? Right? The lockdown in India came sometime in March 2020. But in the news, Wuhan, China, the virus was reported by international news agencies from October 2029, widely reported. I remember reading it, I'm like, something happening in China. It's not going to affect me, right? That's how I reacted. I'm being very honest. That's how I reacted. What's the big deal, right? I traveled within India in Feb, and then I came back, and just a few days later, there was a lockdown. And I was wondering, what if I traveled to India and lockdown was there? I would have been stuck there, right? So these things, when it happens, so the question is that if you knew, would you have behaved differently? If your answer is yes, then the same applies to death. That if you know then okay, what are the causes of happiness? What are the causes of this? Then you have to go a little deeper, right? So it's not something inauspicious, it is something that you have to think deeply about, because it's going to affect you, affect me, affect all of us. And then what am I going to do, right? Right? And the same thing, like, if I ask Nicola that, we know there was a flooding in this particular hall, right? If you knew ahead of time there would be flooding, would you have done something? Of course you would have done something, right? I have been, when I was a small kid, I was at my grandpa's place in Gujarat, and there was a huge flooding, and they had a similar basement, my grandpa. So moment the flooding started, my mother, I was a small kid, so I couldn't help, but I remember seeing all that as a kid. Memory is quite vivid. So my mother, my uncles, maternal uncles, all of them were involved, and they took all the furniture. At that time, there was a usually people will store a lot of grain. They had their own, grain grinding machines. So there were grains there. So they said, okay, what will we eat? There were huge containers of grain. Everything was carried to the first floor from the ground, from the basement. So this is how we behave if we know things, if there's going to be a calamity, if there's going to be a big change. But if you deny that change, if you don't familiarize your mind that this change is going to come, then nothing's going to happen. Then you would be faced like, okay, suddenly it's happening, what am I supposed to do? Then your life is more out of control, right? So this particular thing, all composite things are impermanent. We also looked at the benefit of familiarizing oneself, because I can't control the impermanence going on right now in this room. I'm aging every moment. I can't control it. I can't, like if I see my parents, they're aging. There are age. Yesterday only my father went through a brain MRI, and the doctor is saying there are age-related things in his brain. Nobody can control it. There's no blessing. You can't go to a guru and say, hey, I'm 78, make me 18, right? There's this rich guy who's spending like millions of dollars trying to get young. I don't know, I forgot his name. He's in the media quite a lot, right? He's a super millionaire, and then he's like goes through multiple procedures every day or every week, and he has designed special pills. He's done blood transfusion from his 18-year-old son into his own body to become younger, and the results so far, they say, not so great, right? He's healthier because he's aware that not to age, one thing is you're supposed to exercise a lot, not take stress and things like that. So he's aware about those things. But even if he succeeds, let's say his natural age without all these procedures is 100. He succeeds, it goes to 200. More scientific advances, it goes to 500. Then what? Then what? One day you'll have to face it, right? And what will be the quality of life, right? So those are the questions that often arise, that giving example of nail and hair, very neutral, very simple. But then relating it to yourself, this will happen to me. This is what Prince Siddhartha did in his journey. When he saw a corpse, he asked, will this happen to me? Will this happen to my loved ones? He asked this question, right? So this is something I said, keep it simple, keep it empirical, and keep it connected to reality, right? If we keep it connected, this is not, Buddha did not invent the reality. This is the way things are. So I start from, this is who I am, this is what the way things are, this is what I have to face, right? And then if it was like, okay, things are impermanent and nothing can be done about it, then let's not talk about it. Let's tell Nicola, let's stop this Zoom session, let's have a party here, let's enjoy. What's the big deal? We all gonna, we can't do anything, then what's the big deal? Whatever time we have, enjoy. But no, there is something that can be done. Right? There's something that can be done, right? By understanding things how they are, then we looked at suffering and suffering nature, that it's not really the cake. It's like, we looked at, it's the taste of the cake that we are talking about. Because if cake was an issue, a stale cake would give you the same feeling. A stale cake will give a different taste, and you don't like it. So then if you look at it like that, then, I'm trying to summarize, so that the stale cake, the issue is the taste. So we like the taste, And then we said the taste is not in the cake, taste is within me. Right? So that example make you go inside. Right? That, okay, the taste is within me. Right? So the craving is coming from me. And nothing wrong in enjoying the cake, but then we look at the other factors. Okay? So that's what we looked at so far. It's quite a lot we looked at, frankly. If we were going systematically, all this probably we would have covered in about 12, 13, 14 sessions. To do it like systematically, slowly. So for some of you, it may be, the information is quite a lot because you're hearing for the first time. I see many people here, who are online. I know them personally. They've been part of these systematic learning that, we at Tibet House, almost, I can see at least, some of you have initials, so I don't know who you are, but at least 4 or 5 people I can identify easily that you are from Nalanda Courses. So my teacher, Nicola, here, Sari Pemala, they know Venerable Geshe-Dorji Damnullah. He will cover all this probably in many more sessions, much more interactive, deeper. Here, you just take this that I'm getting an overview. My job would be to implant some kind of a seed of curiosity in you, right? That if that curiosity gets awakened, and if you're interested, there are avenues to learn more, right? Of course, the effort should be from your side. Okay, all right. So that's what we looked at so far, right? And then if this is our state, that whatever we experience, and it's not, at least I have not found, and this is some question that I threw in the first session, that explore what genuine happiness means to you, right? It could be an individual answer, but at least common characteristics will arrive if we have a discussion. What does genuine happiness mean? At least it should not be something that more I partake in, it turns into suffering. At least theoretically, we may not be emotionally or experientially to let go of our whatever likings we have, and we are not asking anybody to let go like this. Right now, it's an intellectual exploration. Intellectual, that okay, it makes sense, fine. Can I do it, or do I want to do it? Those are secondary questions, right? Okay, so this is just like exploring. So genuine happiness, what it should be. If there is something called genuine happiness, I'm here in this session and the topic is genuine happiness. So if there is genuine happiness, what it should be like. We may not be able to give an exact definite answer to it, but at least we should be able to say, yeah, it should be something that is not fleeting. It should be something that it should not be like I have no control over. Right? If it's genuine happiness, if I want, I should be able to invoke it. Right? Or at least right now, absolutely no control. Taking the food item like, cake or cheesecake or whatever you like, right? If you explore that. If I am sick, if I have severe nausea, stomach upset, even my favorite food item, I'll not be able to. If somebody presents it, I probably will throw up. I don't want to eat. Please keep the food item away. Right? So, do I wake up and say, okay, today I want to get a stomach upset and nausea? Right? It will be a wonderful day that I'll fall sick. Do I wake up like this? It happens. Right? It happens. It's not in my control. Of course, there are causes. Some things are in control, that if you go to eat out and you see the restaurant is not very hygienic, you logically can make a decision. I don't want to eat here, I'll fall sick. It's a rainy season, I want to avoid eating out as much as possible. Those are logic. Yet you can fall sick. You can take care as much as you want, yet you can fall sick. So you don't have control. So genuine happiness should be, there should be at least some degree of control that I have. Right? So those are characteristics I'm throwing, that you think about it, that this is from my point of view, that my reflection, right? And this is what I've learned from teacher. If there's genuine happiness, it should be more I partake in whatever, it should increase my happiness, not turn into suffering. Second, it should not be fleeting. Third, there should be some degree of control that I have. right? And when I talk about control, implicitly I'm saying external conditions should not impact me, right? Right? So what if, eating your favorite food item, even if you're nauseous, it gives you like tremendous pleasure? What if? It's not possible, we know that, but I'm saying what if? Then you will eat it. We all want pleasant experiences, right? So often, like if you explore, Shakyamuni Buddha's story, right? There was, I think, one instance where it was quite cold in the morning and he's walking and somebody, one of his disciples or a villager, comes next to him, and the village is quite cold, and he says, Buddha, you are walking, and you don't have a shawl or anything. He says, it doesn't affect me. Cold, heat, for me, it doesn't affect my body, right? And he's not making it up. This is one of the characteristics of a fully awakened being. No matter what the external condition is, you are not impacted by it. You can maintain your mental state of 24/7 bliss despite any adverse external condition. This is one of the qualities. There are hundreds and millions of positive qualities for a fully awakened being, but this is one of the quality. Right? So do I want it? Do you want it? If you explore like this, let's say if it is possible, would you want a body and a mind which of course is connected with everything, yet it will not be impacted negatively whatsoever? No matter what the external condition is, you are just as perfect state of mind, of happiness, bliss all the time. Would you want it? Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Whether we have it or not, I'm not asking if this is possibility, I'm asking if this is possible, do I want it? Yeah. So that is genuine happiness then. Then secondary questions people can ask me, right? That you are saying this, but do I have the potential? Okay, even I have the potential. How do I awaken that potential? How do I achieve it? You can raise contradictory questions, seemingly contradictory questions then. That's a slightly different area. At least we are starting with that this is what genuine happiness and this is what we can achieve, right? What is the process? That's a different thing, okay? So then why don't we experience this genuine happiness if we all have the potential? One of the ways is, one of the presentations is that we are disconnected with reality, number one. And then we also explored very briefly again in the first session that we all have this extra self-centered attitude. Now I'm not judging anybody. In English, this self-centered word is in itself a judgmental word. Like if you talk, oh, he's very self-centered, she's very self-centered. We often use it in a connotation of judging somebody. So it becomes very difficult in these kind of talks to have any other word which is not non-judgmental. It's because of the language issue. We're not judging, we are saying this is the way reality is. So we all want happiness. We are all saying, that we all want this 100% happiness if possible, right? In itself, my teacher again gives a very, very nice example, which is very convincing for me, that when we were born, of course, we don't remember it, but if you have access to anybody who remembers when you're born, you would have cried. You're born just like few seconds from your mother's womb. If you don't cry, you're given a slap by the nursing team. Because if you cry, your lungs open up. They want to see, because that's one of the indicator that the baby is fine. So even if you don't cry, somebody will slap you to make you cry, right? I don't know if there are any doctors here or medicals from the medical community. I think maybe my guess is 90-95% kids would cry on their own, right? Maybe it would be rare cases where, but then Gishla often asks this question, that did we cry that, okay, I'm in the hospital, the nurse is not happy, the other kids are not happy, why did we cry, right? We cried for our own self. We are uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable. I can't recollect that experience, me coming out of my mother's womb. I can't. But I can guarantee, looking at my current mind, that I was not concerned for anybody. I was probably concerned about my I'm uncomfortable. Maybe I was in the mother's womb, it's all watery and I'm swimming and suddenly I'm out. right? And then when you're coming out, the head is under tremendous pressure for the kid. It might be quite painful for the kid, the whole experience. That's why the kid is crying, right? Again, impermanence, there was a change and the kid is not prepared for the change, right? That could be one reason, right? So I don't know if I can recollect my experience, then I can for sure say this happened to me. I don't have any clairvoyance to read your mind or read your past, right? Some teachers have. But for sure you can infer this, right? So this extra self-centered attitude. So I did not cry for others. So that means I'm only concerned about myself, right? This is one example. And if you watch your own life, this is the way it is majority of times. It's not that you don't have loving relation with others don't care for you, you don't care for. I don't mean that. But predominantly, I'm saying, predominantly, right? So self-centered attitude is perfectly fine. It's valid. I want to be happy. I don't want suffering. This is valid, nothing problem. I am the only one who wants happiness. My happiness is more important than anybody else. We don't explicitly say such things, but it's in our behavior all the time. You have to be honest and you have to be introspective to say. Like this is one example where I'm going like just few seconds. And how did I get the example? Because there's a realized teacher who thinks about these things and he gives such examples to open me up. That yeah, what the teacher is saying, it makes sense. This is the way it is, right? So then the second question can be that how does extra self-centered attitude cause me problem? That's a second question. I'm just giving you a gist. It's like a summary that this extra self-centered attitude and not being connected with reality. And when we say reality, reality has multiple levels. That the reality my physical senses are interacting with, they are changing moment by moment. Yet, to my eyes, all this remains static, right? I have no awareness that things are changing, right? I can't see your bodies or my own experience, my body, that there are billions of cells which are degenerating and new cells being regenerated. I don't have access to that, right? Okay. So that is also one level of reality, right? And then we engage with, like, as an example, any food item that we like, we think this is the source of my happiness, right? But it's not the source of happiness. Your source of happiness or source of suffering is within you. That object can trigger your experiences, but there's an internal factor which we are not aware about, at least in our experiences or the way we operate ourselves, right? So reality can be multiple levels. That's what I'm saying, right? So, and then the same thing, right? That if levels of reality, the same piece of cake is presented to you, and then somebody says that somebody's put poison. Visually, you can't see, but you come to know, aware about this new reality, you will have aversion to it. You will say, I don't want it, right? So these are all levels of different levels of reality. We may not have access. And then when we have access to reality correctly all the time, then that one of the cause is completely gone, right? And we are connected with reality completely. Okay. So in this context, it's the third seal. Buddha is stating the subtlest of reality in the third seal. Like reality has levels, gross, then you can go subtler, then the subtlest, right? For example, if we explore our body as an example, right? Then right now it's our external, right, skin. But if you if you're from the scientific background or if you have studied, right? So there's skin, then there is, fatty tissue, there are muscles, there are tendons, there are so many, there are different types of fluids, right? Then you have various organs, right? And then there's space between the organs, and then we go at the cellular level, there's cell, then within the cell there's a cell boundary, there's mitochondria, there are cellular structures, then you go, you can go at the atomic level, then you can go at the subatomic level. So just looking at the body, if you zoom in, there are so many levels of reality. All this I'm not making it up. This is the way my body, your body, everybody's body is, right? End of the day, we can go to what science calls right now subatomic particles, quarks. Beyond that, are there particles? Yes. Has science been able to reach today? No. They're still exploring. Right? This is all level of reality, various levels of reality. Right? So then the question arises, these are various levels of reality, then what is the ultimate? Is there something that we keep going and we'll find something? We'll find something which is ultimate reality beyond which we'll not find anything? Right? And this is not something that Buddha explored. There are many other philosophical traditions, which explored this particular aspect, right? And Buddha taught very clearly that we are disconnected with if somebody can see the ultimate reality directly, like we are seeing right now, it starts removing those internal factors from within you or that person forever. When you get access to this ultimate reality directly, not like conceptually that way we are exploring, directly, then it starts removing all those internal factors that we are speaking about, which is blocking our potential to experience infinite happiness, and which is blocking us to remove all the internal factors for miseries. Once those internal factors are gone, you become a fully awakened being. Right? And for this, what we can do is we can explore the example of the dream, right? Because we're talking about fully awakened. An example of dream is a very powerful example. So is there anybody here who has never ever dreamt? No, we all have dreamt, right? So we have our experience of dream, right? there are, I read studies, there are 5% of people who claim that they don't dream, right? I've interacted with a couple of them, and then they say that I remember a dream once in 6 months, once in 3 months, but normally it's like I sleep and I wake up and there are no dreams. They are saying it. Whether they have dreams and they are not able to recollect, is that the reality, or they don't dream at all? Both possibilities can be there, right? So I don't know, in online I just have Taraji. Taraji, you also have experience of dream? Yes, okay. So I'm not sure why in I don't know where Nicola is, that in Tushita sessions people are very shy, right? They just come, nobody switches on their cameras, it's like only 1 or 2 people, and then it's like maybe they are checking on me, how is this guy speaking, right? I have no idea. So this is like quite odd, because I'm also the chief coordinator for Nalanda Courses at Tibet House. So what Nicola is doing, starting sessions and all that, our team does that. So this is quite odd. Like, if I was in Tibet House session and only one person, my teacher will say, what is this? I want to interact with people. Say, good, Bhaveshi, no force to anybody. If you are comfortable, then switch on. But I'm just curious that why this happens, extremely curious. That, we have a Zoom session and then people join and then keep their cameras off. Okay, maybe you have your own issues. So, okay. So, example of the dream, right? Example of the dream. So let's explore. Let's explore one example of the dream where I'm just thinking, should we start with a nightmare or should we start with a pleasant dream? So that's what I'm thinking, right? So life itself is, sometimes I've questioned my teacher because, when we explore ultimate reality and then somebody becomes fully awakened, then the example is given that all this is dream-like. This is not dream, what we're experiencing. They say dream-like. So I've asked 2 teachers that here only, Taisitupa Rinpoche, I remember. Taisitupa Rinpoche is, one of the root gurus of His Holiness Karmapa. He often comes to Tushita. In one of his talks, he was saying, I said, Rinpoche, I have a question. Rinpoche, shouldn't it be like nightmare-like? Why do you say dream-like? So Rinpoche was smiling, because if we face too many problems in life, then it's not dream-like, right? Dream has a very positive and a neutral connotation both, nightmare in the language, it's a negative connotation, right? That if people go through, severe illnesses, loss of near and dear ones, one problem after another, one problem after another, one problem after another, you're surrounded by problems, right? Then it's not like dream-like, it's like nightmare-like. So anyway, that's a side point. So let's take the example of dream. So maybe I think more powerful and more relatable would be a nightmare. Let's start with the nightmare. It's more beneficial. I'm not trying to scare you or make you recollect bad experiences, but it's just the idea is that you should be able to relate to it, that yes, this is what it is. There should be some internal conviction arising. May not be 100%, some degree is also sufficient for me, at least for this talk. So so again, then I change my question that we all had experience of a nightmare here, right? We all had, right? Online, is there somebody who did not have experience? Then raise your hand. Otherwise, I assume that we all had experience of a nightmare, right? So then the question is that, let's say, just as make it a generic example, that there is a ghost chasing us, right? A very scary ghost chasing us. Could be a scary creature. Like for me, rather than ghost, like at one stage in life, there were recurrent dreams of a scary creature, extremely big, like a monster, something like that. So anyway, ghost, scary creature. The common denominator is it was a very scary experience for you in the dream, right? That's the common denominator. Why were you scared? Can anybody please help me? Offline first. Anyone? Sorry, can you be a little louder?
Because I wasn't able to run away like fast. I had a very similar nightmare once where I was being chased by someone very scary and I wasn't able to
run as fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What's your name?
Eman.
Eman. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Eman. Okay, so Eman is here and she's saying that she had a dream where somebody very scary was chasing her. And she was trying to run as fast as she could, but she was not fast enough. The scary object was faster. And of course, it's very scary. Okay? Right, so if you have similar experience, very scary. Okay. Anybody online would like to share something that why were you scared? I don't need a philosophical answer. Something that people can relate to.
May I speak?
Yes, Taraji, please go ahead.
I think the reason I was scared, of course, I had a different nightmare, was that at that point in time, it seemed completely real.
Excellent. Yes. Right. So adding to Eamon's and Tara's answer that, one, of course, I'm scared, right? I could not run as fast as, so basically it became unavoidable, right? And then I'll share another, what she said based on that later when I finish this example, I'll share one of the Rinpoches talking about a similar experience, Zongsa Rinpoche talking about it, So, and then Taraji is bringing a very important point. It all seemed real, right? So when the dream is appearing real, it is appearing real. I'm using the word appearing real. Is it real? Is it real? Taraji says no. Here, do you think, is it real? No. Then how do you come to know that it's not real? Or when do you come to know that it's not real? You wake up, right? You wake up, right? You wake up, then you come to know, oh, and then what was the feeling like? Can you please share that when you woke up and what was the feeling like?
Relief, thank God, it's not real.
Yeah, thank God it's not real. What a real. And Taraji, what was the feeling for you when you woke up? What was the feeling?
Sorry, I lost it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, similar to her. Only I was thinking to myself, what does it portend? That's just me. I was thinking maybe there was some significance here. But yeah,
Yes.
the main feeling was relief. Good to be awake.
Yeah. So that's a secondary thing. Many people report what Taraji is saying, that maybe it was a sign for something. Maybe it was an omen for something. Those are our conceptual thoughts about it. We are just talking about, okay, you saw something. Is it real or not? Was it's an omen? Is it some kind of a sign? Is it some kind of a potent, some kind of a message from somebody? Those are secondary thoughts. Maybe true, may not be true, most likely not true.
Yeah.
I would say 99.99% not true. There
Not
could be
true.
people, there could be people, 0.01%, I know them personally, that they see such things and they can tell about, like, okay, and they're dreaming about somebody and they report that something is going to happen in life. Very rare, extremely rare, extremely
Uh,
rare.
If I may say something, this was
Yeah,
very
yeah.
recently. We used to have just one child, one son, and he had just passed away. So it
Oh,
was a
oh,
dream.
I
It
see.
was a nightmare soon after that. So I had a little, I would kind of was trying to think, is there some sign that's coming or whatever? But yeah, the main feeling was relief, just relief that this wasn't true.
Yeah,
This hadn't actually happened.
yeah. Sorry to hear, so sorry to hear. Prayers
I
for
know.
your son. Yeah. So, yeah, so, so the theme is relief, right? And then the word is, when I wake up, then I realize the reality,
Yes.
right? Okay. So I'm picking up why the stream example. The same example can be used in different ways,
Right.
very, very different ways, right? So the same example here, what we are using, we're picking up one, there are appearances in the dream. We take those appearances as real. Then when we take those appearances real, then, I want it, I'm afraid of it, I don't like it, neutral, all kinds of experiences can arise, right? All kind of experiences can arise. Why? Is the problem in appearance, or is the problem in my believing the appearance to be true? Is the problem in appearance, or is the problem in my believing the appearance to be true? I'm repeating, right?
I think in my believing the appearance to be true.
Thank you, Taraji. So yes, believing, right? And some people can say, yes, you can even achieve a state where there are no appearances. Is that possible? This is being objective. We are breaking the dream down. You go to sleep, you don't dream the whole night. There is a certain phase in the sleep that you start dreaming. You start dreaming, and then it's your mind creating those appearances, nobody from outside. You yourself are creating the appearance. You seem to have no control over it. It happens, and you start believing in it. And when you start believing in it, all our emotional up downs happen. And when emotional up down happens, then you are affected. She was running. I would profusely sweat. And there was not only mental level, it was affecting my body also. I would often wake up in middle of the night when it's like 2 degrees, 3 degrees. I would wake up and I'm like completely wet from head to toe. That amount of sweat. Why? The fear. Right? Why the fear? Because I saw the appearance as true. Right? I saw the appearance as true, believing it to be real. And this is what Buddha said, that when you become fully awakened, you would see all these things as dreamlike. How do we establish that this is all dreamlike? Separate question. Quite detailed studies are required. When Buddha is saying, everything is in nature of emptiness and selflessness. This is the third seal. Right? These are technical words. Don't assume them like first big warning. Emptiness is not nothingness. This is a big warning. Selflessness, Buddha taught selflessness. That means Buddha taught there's no self. Like if I ask anybody, right, who are you? Who are you? You will say, I am so and so person. You will introduce, my name is this. That's a name. But who are you? We have to explore. So there is something which you attribute within yourself as, this is me. Right? What is that? We explore slightly. I won't say slightly. We can't explore in today's session, but at least I can give pointers that it is based on your body and mind. You have a certain body, you have a certain internal mental process. You are a kind person, maybe you are an artist, maybe you are an actor, maybe you are this, maybe you are that, maybe you are retired, maybe you are, you have mental qualities and you have, physical body. Based on that, there are attributes that you say, this is me. That self is there. When Buddha taught selflessness, he taught we exaggerate who we are in the ways that we are not, and that is selflessness. He did not say self is not there. This is the technical word, selflessness. And emptiness, again, these are all technical words, but basically emptiness means that things do not exist the way they appear. Things exist. First thing is things exist. Always remember that. Things exist. Don't start that, okay, emptiness means nothingness. Things exist, but they do not exist the way they appear, like a dream. Dream appears like real, but it is not real. The dream appears 100% from your subject, like I am talking to you, you are the objects, my speech right now is the object for you as a subject. You're hearing my speech, that's your object for your mind right now, right? So in the dream, whatever appears, it's the object, and your dreaming mind is the subject. So everything is coming from the subject, 100% from the subject. This is a very big statement I'm making right now. Extremely big statement. Why? I'll just ask some theoretical questions. Again, at an intellectual level, cannot be experienced. Experiential level, you want to reach, you have to put a lot of effort from your side. Let's say, if you were aware that whoever was chasing you, at that time you become aware, let's say, that it's just your dream, 100% coming from your mind. You become fully aware. What would have been your reaction? Would you run?
No, it's not running, because there's no consequence. I'm running from the consequence of that object or person catching up with me. And there's a fear behind it. And if I feel like it's not happening for real, that...
No, the appearances are same.
Yeah.
There's a person who's chasing you, but now we are adding extra knowledge. We are adding extra knowledge that, okay, the appearance is same. He's trying to chase me, right? Make that person 100 million times more scary, let's say. 100 million times scary, 100 times scary, whatever. But you are now 100% aware that my mind is creating it. Right? Would you run? And the answer, she's saying, no, I would not run. What's the need to run? It's coming from my mind. Right? So this is the power of knowing reality. This is not a theoretical thing that we're exploring. Right? Again, no offense to scientists. I come from an engineering background. I have huge interest in sciences. In my free time, I often try and read up all the latest research and all that. But science, for example, will just explore like quantum physics, and they go to like they're trying to explore ultimate reality or very subtle reality. But they don't relate this to their experiences. Right? They don't. If you ask a physicist, it has no consequence on their emotional world. And yeah, there is something called atoms, there are subatomic particles, there is a duality that, the matter can appear as like particles or energy. There's a duality, right? And then they also agree that way things appear and way things exist, there's a difference. But do they make attempt to transform their emotional world? Most likely not. They could be intuitive scientists who may use it, but most likely the goal of science is just to explore reality. Here the goal is we are exploring reality. By starting, we laid the ground. My two aspirations. I don't want suffering and I want maximum happiness. I have the potential. Potential is not becoming manifest because of internal factors. The internal factors are extra self-centered attitude and not connected to reality. So now we are addressing one part of the internal problem, reality. And not reality, to be technically correct, disconnected from reality. That's the problem. Reality per se is not a problem. Being disconnected from reality is a problem. We're exploring that. And we are looking at the example of the dream. So here we agree that you would not be affected. Right? So now I think it's the right time I share the story of Dzongsa Rinpoche. I don't know if you're aware, many years ago, maybe, I don't know if somebody's seen the movie The Cup. Right? So it's what, 25 years ago, maybe, Nicola? 25?
98.
98, so 26 years ago. About 26 years ago, this movie was released, The Cup. It's made by Dzongsa Rinpoche, many of you may know. So in fact, I happened to borrow, at that time, of course, I borrowed the DVD of The Cup from Tushita only. there was a DVD, and from the library I took it at that time. I watched it on DVD, so it was a director cut edition DVD. Director cut had, after the movie, about 20 minutes there were interviews. And Dzongsa Rinpoche, I think, was the director, producer, he played a critical major role in the movie. So somebody is interviewing Dzongsa Rinpoche, and the movie, it's a very funny movie and very nicely made, but deep philosophical messages in the movie, deep philosophical message, right? And there's one scene where basically they're all sitting in the hall and there's no electricity and there's candles. So if you know, right, you can use your hands and then, there's a shadow on the wall, and like you can make a monster, you can make animals out of your hand. So that particular scene is there. And Rinpoche is talking about how he was inspired to put that scene in that particular. So he shares a story. He says there was this one man, he was dreaming, and in his dream, like she said, there was a ghost chasing. And this man runs and runs and runs and runs, and he's able to outrun initially for many, many hours in his dream. Then he starts getting tired. Then he enters a building. And then, he finally is cornered. He reaches a room and now there's no place to run. And then he sits down in the corner and the ghost is like facing him now. And then he says, I have no option. I'm so tired. I have to talk to this ghost. Then this man, this is all happening in his dream, right? And he says, why are you chasing me? Right? Out of desperation, he's saying, why are you chasing me? The ghost says, how do I know? I am your dream. Right? The ghost says, how do I know? You are the one creating me. You are the one asking me to run after you. And then you are asking me, why are you chasing me? So Rinpoche is saying, this is a very funny way, but this is the reality. Right? This is a very deep reality that, we create our own reality based on our perceptions. And then we are affected by it. But when we are affected by it, we forgot that we are the ones who created these appearances. We forgot. We deeply forgot, including myself. I'm not saying we means only you people. First myself, I would say, right? If I relate to my direct experiences. Okay? So this third seal, this is what Buddha is talking about, is the ultimate reality. That when one wakes up to this, the mind is not same as the brain. Our mind has this potential to be of very clear nature. And then what is blocking are these, internal factors that I'm saying. There are technical words for it, but I'm not bringing in this kind of a talk. There are internal factors. When internal factors are there, the mind cannot manifest its true nature, right? Like if water, there's impure water right now. I think we in Delhi and most likely in almost all cities in the world, I think rivers are extremely polluted, right? So if untreated water directly, if you take from the river, I think nobody will drink it in today's world, right? But the same water, we drink at home. Water is same, it's purified. Right? So there is a purification process which gets rid of the impurities. If water did not have the potential to be pure, what's the point? Like for example, coal or a charcoal, which is black in color, and you say that I want to make the charcoal white, and you keep rubbing it, you will never reach white color. The coal will finish. It doesn't have the potential. Right? So our mind has that potential. Again, like I said, don't take me blindly. Like my teacher often says, that don't accept easily, but don't start with a rejection. What is he talking? Mind is pure. I have so many problems, this, that, and he's talking mind is pure. You have to explore. Right? That if this potential is within me, right? And then often, many texts even say this. Many standard texts say this, that we are all like beggars, extremely shabby beggars, sitting like on a treasure, and we are not aware that we're sitting on a treasure. Absolutely, unaware about it, that we have this potential to fully manifest our 100% happiness. And of course, it's something that we have to put effort. In one of the classes on impermanence, we looked at like gross and subtle. One category of impermanences, there are impermanent things which, if you don't put effort, they continue as it is. If you put effort, you can bring an end to it. And are these internal factors which are blocking our 100% happiness and which are blocking us to experience 0% misery, those internal factors belong to this category. That if you put effort, you can put an end to it. You can put 100% end to it. It's like, again, we can go back to the example of the dream. We remember when we were having this nightmare, but you basically, your physical senses are almost shut. We all are her friends and she's sleeping and we can see like, okay, she's so uncomfortable, and we are like shouting, please wake up, it's your dream. Please wake up, it's your dream. But she can't hear. She can't hear, right? So similarly, Buddhas are telling us to wake up. Buddhas are saying that, you all have the potential, but we can't hear Buddhas right now, right? It's only if Buddha could go in her dream and then tell her it's your dream, and then also still she may say, no, I can see the ghost. Still, it's not necessary. Buddha can even come in the dream and say, hey, it's your own creation. Yet we'll not believe. What are you saying? I can see. He will kill me. He will eat me. I'm still running. Right? So this is the way. So only way out is that we study. There are 3 levels of doing anything, at least from if you want to take whatever we are learning to experience level, then there are 3 levels, right? One, like you've listened to this talk. I'm nobody special. I've learned this from my teachers and I'm just conveying. I'm more like a messenger, right? Then you listen, then you explore. There are books, there are genuine teachers, their recordings are available, right? You listen and you explore. Then you are enriching your learning. You're getting more information. And then you analyze it. Does it make sense? Or does it not make sense? Right? When you keep analyzing, and then this level, like I asked her, and this question was not only to her, to all of us, that if we become aware, that it's a nightmare, that we become fully aware, 100% aware that it's coming from the mind. And we all agreed that then I will not be afraid. Right? So then if we keep reflecting on it, at some stage, this habituation becomes like a deep conviction. Then that reflection is like complete. That yes, if I become aware that in the dream, I'm aware that is simply from my mind, it will not affect me. The dream content will have no control over me. I will have control, what I want to do. It's just an appearance. It's just an appearance, right? There are people, there's an English word called lucid dreaming. People become aware that they're dreaming. But then those are levels also, right? I know one person, she reports that she becomes aware she's dreaming. And then she says, I don't like it. So in the dream I say, I'll change it. I said, this also you're affected by the dream. This is also a level that you're affected by the dream. You know it's your dream, yet you're saying, I like it, I dislike it, and I want to change it. You're affected by it. So the levels are different. There's this one girl I met in one of the meditation courses. She said, if I become aware, then, in my dream, then I would stab myself, and then I'll see I'm bleeding, and I'll say, yeah, it's just a dream, I laugh. And then it was a course where we had group discussions. This was a long time back, about 14 years back, I remember her. And then all of us said, please don't do this. Why? Because right now you do not have a trained mind. What if you're going through a huge psychological problem later and you're not able to differentiate that this is reality, this is a dream? You're creating a bad habit that, oh, this is a dream, let me harm myself. Right? This is also a level of being affected. Right? So just becoming aware, the awareness will also have different levels, the point I'm saying, right? So, but in theory, we agree that as you become more and more aware, the dream content will not affect you, right? So if the dream content doesn't affect you, this is the 4th seal. transcending sorrow is peace. Right? We are transcending this. Right? We are transcending a level of the appearance. This appearance, which is like, it can cause pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and then those feelings can cause me to take actions. I can react, I can do things, and then all sorts of miseries arise from it. Right? So then again, we did not look at karma. Very briefly, we looked at karma. Karma is that we take actions, and when we take actions, there are consequences. So why do we take actions? Like she said that I believed, Taraji said, she said that I believed that dream to be true. And when you believe it true, then in a nightmare, it's a fear. And then out of fear, you will run away. Not necessary. Some people out of fear can also freeze. But out of fear, here in this example, she was running. Right? So if we know things are the way they are, why would I be affected by it? Right? And this nature of mind itself, when it abides in ultimate reality, the text says that the nature of mind is such that you experience a bliss that you cannot even imagine. There are practitioners who have experienced seeing this ultimate reality directly. Some of them mention the objects of physical senses, whatever you've experienced, but if you see this ultimate reality directly, it's like billion trillion times the bliss that you will get. But if you, like we set a good motivation, if your motivation is to experience the bliss, most likely you will not reach that level. Right? The motivation should be purer, motivation should be more holistic rather than I want to experience the bliss. Bliss is like a natural side effect that happens when you reach there. Right? So often, our modern day humans, including myself, I don't know if I'm 100% there or not, at least not 100% there, but at least we confuse means with the end. Right? I want money, I want power, I want this, I want that. Why? They don't explore. So when they have enough money that they want it, then still they feel hollowness in their life. Right? I want power. You become a politician or something, and then you have power, then what? So they are confusing the means with the end. These things, okay, nothing wrong. If you have power and you're helpful to yourself, others, you're not causing problems, what's wrong in it? Nothing wrong. If you have enough money and you're comfortable life and you're not causing problems to others, you're helpful to others, what's wrong? Money is good. But then thinking that money is everything and money is the end, that is the means. You're confusing with the means. So similarly, bliss is a side effect. So if you focus just on the bliss, the end goal will not be holistic then. You will not reach there. This is what the text says. I'm just explaining what I have read. And many practitioners talk about this, And this is what a state of a mind. A Buddha is a fully awakened being, always 24/7, not even for a split second disconnected from reality. No matter where the reality is. Like the whole universe is so vast. Buddha's mind is an omniscient mind. Every atom of the universe, Buddha is aware in a single moment. Buddha is aware about all right now. I am talking, you are listening, your mental states, each and everything Buddha is aware without effort. Why? Because Buddha has purified the mind. This is a natural quality of the mind that we all have. Right? If there are two pieces of diamond, one absolutely nice and shiny, and one completely same carat, same weight, same everything, but one covered with dust and dirt and which is a higher value of diamond from a diamond perspective? Anyone? Two pieces of diamond, clean and defiled one. And if you go to let's say a shop where they buy diamonds, both, will they give like higher value for the clean one, or will they give same value? I mean, it's whatever, like if let's say process what, just to clean, right? And let's say the diamond is like worth billions and trillions of dollars. So compared to the trillions of dollars, the process is a very small thing, right? So will they give you, and you have this knowledge, will you agree that for the slightly dirt covered one you will settle for a less value? No. right? No, right? You will not. So it's the same value. So our mind and Buddha's mind is like that. Buddha's mind is like a shiny diamond, all dirt removed. We have the shiny diamond, we're not even aware about it. We're not doing anything to uncover it. And the key is the third seal. First two, all composite things are impermanent. That's also reality. If we work on this reality, it gives us plus, reflection on how, anything, negative experience can arise anytime, right? Because things are impermanent. Suddenly COVID can come again. Suddenly this can happen. Suddenly that can happen. And if we relate to our experience, sudden things have happened which we were not prepared and we were taken aback. I think we are all at this age right now that we would have had that kind of experience sometime or the other, right? Even if you are students, suddenly now exams have come. Now I have to study, right? Even if there is a student there, right? I remember, right, in school days and having too much of fun, and then suddenly now, next week is exam. Now I have to study, right? It's not sudden, right? So even if somebody is young enough, they've had their own level of experiences, right? So this first, all composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are nature of suffering. And then here Buddha is implicitly talking about karma also. And why, for me, there's a certain level of suffering, not for you, or for you, certain levels of experience of suffering. And here does suffering mean evident. Suffering also has various levels, which we did not explore, but I'm talking about the evident suffering right now. In the second seal, Buddha is not talking about evident suffering. Buddha is talking about the subtlest suffering, which we've not explored too much, right? So something technical point I'm saying, Okay, so when we reflect on impermanence, when we reflect on suffering, when we reflect on karma, our mind is like unsettled. Now anything can happen to me, right? And then we look at the opportunity side, that right now I have this opportunity to uncover this diamond within me. And the only way it is, I have to put effort. I have to learn wisdom of learning. Then we looked at wisdom of reflection, and then you habituate over and over and over again. This habituation process is meditation. Meditation is not just, okay, let's calm our mind, just focus on the breath. This is very small part of the meditation, right? The meditation is habituating the mind with something which is a virtue, which can, if there are no opposing factors later, it's you creating causes within yourself for future happiness. It's called virtue. Virtue is something which has the potential to give you happiness. So right now we are experiencing, right, this is a, rather comfortable. Today is an extremely humid day outside, but here it's relatively comfortable. We have an AC, we have fan. So this is also ripening of our virtue, that we as a group, we've done some level of generosity in the past, that we are experiencing this, right? But here we're talking about a virtue where we can become aware. One virtue is within the dream, right? That you keep doing virtue, but you'll never become aware that you're dreaming. So it'll be always pleasant dreams, at least for a long time. And then in the dream, you have to keep doing the virtue. You do virtue, you become rich, and then you become arrogant, and then you become more self-centered, and then the downward journey starts. So it's up and down, up and down, up and down. And then one virtue is which takes you out of this dream. This fourth seal is transcending sorrow, transcending. Buddha is talking about a happiness which is transcendental. It is not something ordinary happiness that we've experienced. Okay, and when one reaches that transcendental level, then it stays with the person 24/7. It's not like fleeting. So then you're going towards genuine happiness, right? And then, of course, in the four seals, it's not there. I'd like to spend just a few minutes and then I'll take questions. The extra self-centered attitude. That's a very important part for the genuine happiness, right? So, I think I'll quote Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh said a very beautiful statement. I may not be quoting the exact words, but I remember, the greatest miracle Buddha did was walk on this planet Earth with compassion, right? The whole teaching, the whole foundation of Buddha's teaching, or if I say Buddha's teaching, it becomes like ism. the whole foundation to fulfill my two aspirations, that I don't want suffering and I want to be 100% happiness, that foundation is compassion, right? So if without compassion, then all this doesn't make any sense. The extra self-centered attitude, if we are just concerned about, again, we are not judging anybody, we are exploring intellectually right now, right? So compassion, again, like we explored, reality has various levels, right? For example, if there is a child drowning, right? If there's a child drowning and you are also there, many people are there, let's exclude ourselves, many people are there, and the mother is there, the loving mother of the child, young child is drowning, and the mother is an experienced swimmer, right? Who's likely to jump and save the child first? There's a group of people. Mother, right? Abhilasha ji says mother. You don't even have to think about it, right? Then the question is, why? I'm also there. Why did I not jump when the mother jumped before? She's the most compassionate towards the child, right? The love is what, drives. Of course, somebody can say that mother is compassionate, but only to her child, right? Fine. At least I did not jump. She jumped. Start from where you are, right? So this is one example. I'm just sharing that compassion itself, if this compassion is even limited to the child, to my family, to my friends, are we aware about families or relationships even where there's a my and there are fights happening? Right? There are many, right? Even within my family, if I consider I don't get along well with some people and I get along well with many people, if I just relate to my experience, right? So why is that so? Right? So and then the amount of joy she will get out of saving, of course the concern will be there, but the amount of joy also, right? Let's take a positive example, not drowning, but then the child has gone to a hostel for many months and then comes back and the mother sees the child. The amount of joy the child will get, and let's say this mother and child are my next door neighbor, right? The amount of joy the mother will get, will I get the same joy? Most likely not. Almost 100% sure, at least I can tell for myself, I will not. Oh yeah, the child has come, I'll just say hello, he'll say hello to me. But the same joy the mother is experiencing, I will not. Then now again, theoretical example. Let's say we are able to develop this kind of a mind, which is this compassionate and kind towards all beings. Let's say, I'm not saying how, I'm just putting a theoretical question. If we can say that, okay, I can create this kind of a mind through training and maintain that mind, then I will get joy whomever I meet. Similar joy. Does everybody agree? Then I get similar joy, right? Then whoever I meet, whether the person is nasty towards me, not nasty, how we train the mind, that's a different question. Right now, it's just a theoretical, intellectual framework we are building. Right? If we intellectually agree, then we will go into the how part. If we intellectually say no, then there's no point exploring. Right? So this is the teaching where, and then the other thing is that, okay, even if you're kind and you're compassionate, what if you do not have the skills? Like if the mother is there and the child is drowning, but the mother doesn't know how to swim. The internal energy would be there, I have to save the child. Then she'll probably look in the crowd, please save my child, please save my child. She'll look for somebody, if she is a wise mother. Right? Out of emotional turmoil, if she jumps, then that's not a wise thing. There are certain mothers who may do that. After like, I can't see my child drowning, so I'll try. And there's no chance, let's say it's a very chaotic water, no chance, right? Then, that's a different thing. But I'm saying a wise mother would try and look for help and still may not be able to get the help, right? So one presentation of a Buddha is, perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. Buddha can be described in many ways. Buddha is like fully awakened being, perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. So if the mother has perfect love towards the child, right, and then she has the knowledge also, okay, to save the child, somebody has to go in and save, but she doesn't have the power. She doesn't have the power at that time, right? So sometimes, because what is love? Love is a simple wish that may you be happy. For the other person, may you be happy. And what is compassion? May you be free from suffering. This is compassion, right? May you be free from suffering and may you be happy, right? The common umbrella is like the affection. If the affection can take different, like if the child is drowning, then compassion overtakes. And may you be free from suffering, you're drowning, If the child comes home from the hostel, it takes the form of love. May you be happy. I'm so happy to see you. I'll make special dishes for you. That way the mother's love will manifest, right? I mean, can be father also. Mother we're giving it as example. There are loving fathers who are excellent cooks also. Can be father also. Can be anybody, right? You can be an elder sister, can be just a good friend, can be anyone. But love, we're just taking an example of the mother right now. Okay? So, and then there are situations where the love is there, but the knowledge is not there. Right? The knowledge is not there. Let's say it's very crowded place right next to the sea, and the child has disappeared, and mother is looking in the crowd. She doesn't have the knowledge that the child is drowning. Right? So I'm creating a hypothetical scenario. So the love is there and the concern is there, but the knowledge is not there. What happened to my child? Then the knowledge is there, the child is drowning, but the power is not there. So if you can theoretically think of any scenario, if you have three qualities, this perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power, then any problem in the world you will be able to help. Any person you'll be able to help. This is Buddha's quality. And of course the receptivity should be there. Right? There would be certain people who may have hatred, they're drowning, and they will say that it's better to drown, but this person will not save me. Right? Quite possible, right? Yeah. So I remember one of my school reunions long time back. So funny example. So one of my classmates, he was quite bad in studies, and somehow he's become like a surgeon, and that too a cardiac surgeon. So we all friends were together, and we all took a funny vow together. Listen, if we are together, and if I'm dying of a heart attack and you admit me to a hospital, if he's the doctor, let me die. So we took a funny vow, because it was like, it was unbelievable. This guy could not clear his grades in school, 10th grade, 11th grade, and he's become like a top cardiac surgeon. So we were pretty sure he gave donation somewhere and he's become a doctor, right? So we were pretty, I said, it's okay, if I were to live, I will live. If he's going to operate, then my chances of being alive is like close to zero, right? So I'm just sharing a funny story from my life, but then there are certain people who will say, it's better, I will not borrow money from this, it's better me to die, right? So why that? Because the receptivity is not there. We're not making fun of these people, but receptivity is not there. So Buddha having perfect power, perfect knowledge, perfect love, all three qualities are there, but the other person is not receptive. Then also the help cannot reach. And there's a very beautiful example, Arya Maitreya, Buddha Maitreya, the sitting statue, in his text, he is the future Buddha. He says that, in one of the texts he says, like, Buddha's love and qualities that want to benefit people, it's like a rain. Rain doesn't discriminate. Rain falls everywhere, no discrimination. Is it raining right now? I just said, and it's raining, I think. Okay, very auspicious. So, I don't know, I heard what? No, it's not raining. Okay, sorry. Appearance, believing in appearance. So Buddha's qualities are like rain, but it's not that everywhere plants grow. Wherever there are seeds, the plants grow. A very beautiful example. So wherever there is receptivity, and there's one more similar example, that Buddha's quality is like a moon, full moon. Reflections can only occur where there are water bodies. Water bodies dry, then there's no reflection. From moon side, there's no discrimination. Neither I'll reflect here and I'll not reflect here. right? So it's quite complicated this way, that you want to have a feeling of helping somebody to your best ability, but the other person is not receptive. Very little you can do then. Okay, so this is something like why this was not part of the four seals, but I'm touching a very important part, So compassion at that level, which is the highest level possible, is called bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is a mind which aspires to become Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. Again, Buddha is not related to ism at all. Buddha is a fully awakened being. We took the example of dream. If we are aware, this is not dream, but this is dream-like. How? There are appearances. We don't know how ultimately they exist, and we believe them to be true, and then we react. In this way, it's dream-like. There's a difference between dream and dream-like. In dream, causality is not there, right? You can, in a split second, you could have let me fly, and you could have flown away from your ghost in a split second, right? It didn't happen, but it can happen in the dream. In real life, you can't fly. So there's a certain set of cause and effect which operates in dream-like. In dream, it may or may not operate. Okay, all right. So I think I've covered, and then of course, if you want to, explore this more, then you have to do like systematic studies, right? And I'm not here because I'm also, my designation is I'm one of the chief coordinators of Nalanda Courses. So I'm not here advertising just because I'm from Tibet House. There are many courses like FPMT. I remember taking many classes from Kabirji in this hall. Renukaji is here. He used to teach Discovering Buddhism 2012, 2013. I still have those recordings with me. So we explored Discovering Buddhism is there from FPMT. There are many centers, but explore it in a systematic way, then only you can get to this ultimate reality. There are many nuances. It's like you're exploring, like quantum physics. If you're not from a physics background, don't get overwhelmed. Oh, I'm not from a physics background, and he's saying quantum physics. Examples are not exact fit. There are some technicals involved, and if those technicalities are not addressed, will not get the conviction. It's very easy for you to say this is dream-like. How do you say it's dream-like? So you have to explore, get your conviction. For that, you need things, even if you pick up a book, there are many books, many of them probably authentic teachers never even recommend. Don't read this book, get teachings from authentic who have realizations, who are genuinely going this path, If things from them, it's like a blessing, plus their knowledge is quite experiential. So even if you present or you try meditating on its own, on stuck, the advice you will get is it's like quite authentic. It will be extremely beneficial, right? So Tibet House .NDC. This is a course called Nalanda Diploma Course, which is starting 2nd October, and tomorrow, 2nd September, opening the registration for it. If any questions, there's an email mentioned. You can send, and myself or one of my team members will get to you. Okay. I'm not sure how much time I've already. So Renkoji.
Before you question answer session.
Yeah, please. No, you're not interfering.
Yeah. So
should I answer?
I think they can help me.
They can help.
Yeah. So of Tushita, I would really like to thank Deepesh ji. You cannot imagine how happy I am to see Deepesh ji come here as a teacher. I think his parents of Buddhism from Tushita.
Tushita Dharma started.
Yeah, Dharma Court, and then Tushita, Delhi.
Yes.
So it's a delight to see him become a teacher of the Nalanda course. We really, in your spiritual development, and I would like to request you to come back to Tushita again to share some knowledge with our participants here.
Yeah.
And thank you very much. Yeah. No. Yeah.
I will talk to you. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. And the 4 seals that he has taught, let me tell you, once I remember something which is saying that this the distinctive feature of Buddhism. So it's a very, very important topic. We have to go very deep into it. Thank you.
Before you go in, quick anecdote, if you remember, Rinpoche had come.
Zopa
Rinpoche.
I know we had lunch. Yes.
So I think I was lucky enough that I was close to me and Rima, my wife, very close.
Yes.
And at that time, this the Tibet House program was going on. So Rinpoche, me personally, you have to help. I was like, I'm already helping Tushita in my mind at that time, right? I was thinking. Then when this opportunity came, and I told Nicola also this, that it is my heartfelt way, my opportunity, that I was rejoicing that Rinpoche's wish is coming true, that and I don't consider myself a teacher at all, Renukaji is kind. I'm just a student, just getting an opportunity to share.
Students.
Yes. So with Renukaji had for, I think, 40 plus years, right?
I've stopped counting now.
Yeah. So we're very lucky that,
with the Lamas,
yeah, so we're very lucky that she's managing this center for such a long time, So we always rejoice. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So can I take some questions? Is it okay? All right. Yeah, sure. Zoom is giving issues. Audio device, I think it's probably use or something. It's just changing.
Oh yeah, it's blink.
It's okay.
It's also good.
Yeah, it's keep going. Can you guys hear me?
Just remove it.
Okay, all right. Thank you. As long as they're able to.
Like disable hear you.
Okay, all right. As long as you can hear me, that's fine. Okay. All right. So any questions online or here in person? Anyone? Any questions?
Can I ask something?
Yeah, Jatinder-ji.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Yeah, please go ahead.
Just want to know who do you contact if you want to join the Nalanda courses? Do you have to go through some a person, or you just join in? How do you do it?
You can. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so there is, like, if you go tibethouse.in/ndc,
Right.
N for Nalanda, D for diploma, C for course, NDC, right? So you will find there's a link to the registration form there, and we've also mentioned an email, and in fact, we've been doing these courses with simultaneous translation in Russian. There's a group in Russia which does, so if you have friends in Russia, you can inform them also, Russian speaking, right? So NDC, and there's an email mentioned. Email is also quite simple, Nalanda Courses @tibethouse.in.
Nalanda Courses @tibethouse.in.
So that is a group email for all the coordinators, and you can explore. This is the 5th batch of NDC. 4 batches have been completed, and there are many other courses that Tibet House offers. There's a shorter version of 6 months. This is about 1.5 years, close to 14-month course. This is.
14-month course. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Any other question?
Sir, if you're aware of causality, then why does it come to phase 1? Like it offends you almost.
Okay, can I know your name, please? I think it's Galaxy's J7 Prime. What's your name?
Neil.
Neil.
Yes.
Yeah, Neil.
Yes.
So you know the causality. I'm trying to understand your question, Neela. So you're saying that causality affects you. That's what you're saying, right?
Something causal, like that has a cause, and then you know it, and then it comes to the place of like a ripe fruit almost. I don't understand it that well. So can you shed light or?
Sure. So, I've not fully understood the import of your question, but let's take an example to make it clear. So, for example, I think in the last session we explored your phone drops, right? and then you're affected by it. Will that be example fitting your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's say you have a new phone, couple of days old phone, you're quite happy, and then the phone drops and it breaks right in front of you. And now Neela is saying that we are affected by it, and then he's saying, why are we affected by it, right? Is that your question? Can we use that as example?
Yes.
Okay. So now again, let's see. Have you seen anybody who has seen these techie guys making videos of phone reviews, right, on YouTube and other channels, or they make these videos? They actually make the
Sure.
phone. They make the
Yeah.
phone, right? Have you seen those? Did
Yeah.
your heart drop? Did your heart drop when you saw the video? Right? I saw those videos. Okay, it's
Yeah.
quite good.
Sort of. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
your heart drops only when it's your phone, right?
Yes. That is when it's experienced by me and my
Yeah,
personal hand is involved. Yeah.
yeah. So from a cause and effect perspective, if things drop, right, at a certain angle, and sometimes it breaks, sometimes it doesn't break. So if all the causes are known, and if it falls, it will break, right? Right? And then what are the companies doing? Like these days, there are waterproof phones. Like somebody just about 15 days back said, I dropped the phone in the bucket, completely drowned, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. So it's a waterproof phone. So the companies know it, things drop, people don't like it, so they're making new technology, right? So now Neela is saying, now the question is, first we agree that, okay, it's my phone, my experiences, then I feel bad, right? So per se, phone dropping, there's no issue. What are we establishing? Phone dropping is not an issue, but phone drops. My phone drops, so there's my involved. Where is this my coming from? It's an internal factor, right? That's what we were looking for. Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, Nicola just changed my microphone here for Zoom, so I hope you can hear me. I think it looks stable. Okay, all right. So the my factor, is part of being disconnected with the reality. Okay, my is there, but we don't realize the my to be dreamlike, Neela. When we realize the my to be dreamlike, we know this is coming purely from my subject. When we know purely from the subject, we will accept it quite easily. The phone drops, phone breaks. This is the way the law of causality works, but you would not be affected by it. Your becoming fully awakened doesn't mean that the phone drops, the phone will stop breaking. The law of cause and effect works the way it works. Okay? So you have to take it at levels, why the attachment is there, then you have to explore, what is this attachment, what is this my? This is related to teachings on emptiness and selflessness. Right? So at this stage, we can relate it to the level of example. That phone dropping is also dreamlike, like a ghost chasing us, but we are not aware that it is coming from the subject. And of course, you can question, how are you saying it's coming from the subject? The phone is there, outside my mind. Those are genuine questions. Like I said, only systematic studies. There's no other way. There's no other way. Okay? All right? Okay, thank you for your question. It's a very good question. And I like such questions because you are trying to relate it to your experiences. And more we relate these teachings to our experiences and question them based on experience, and more benefit we will get. There's no other way out. Okay? Otherwise, it becomes an intellectual exercise. Intellectual exercise, nothing wrong. But then you're not getting the benefit. You may get a PhD, you may get a degree, you may get a diploma. And that's a certificate lying in your closet, but you don't get the benefit. Right? So when Buddha taught, Buddha did not say, okay, 4 seals are this, only NDC diploma holders will experience this. There's no 5th seals like that, right? Right? There's nothing like that. Buddha is, you want to do diploma, you don't want to do diploma, please work on yourself, look at the reality, how it is, and then what you are learning, relate like Neela is relating to his own experience, which is quite wonderful. Okay, thank you. Maybe perhaps last question, anyone? Here or yes, Tara.
Yep.
Yes. Go ahead.
I struggled a bit when I was new to Buddhism because by nature, I think, for me, happiness, my happiness, to an extent is connected with others being happy. So I'd be
Very true.
happy fleetingly, and then something would happen, or, it could even be the war in the Middle East or something. And I would just really get down in the dumps because there was so much sorrow and so much misery in the world. So it's taken me a lot of time to realize that I'm not God. I can't solve everything. And I have to have smaller goals. And I have to try. I have to try. If there's something that I can make better for somebody around me who's very unhappy, then yes, a sense that, okay, I've helped someone else and that makes me happy. But of course, it's not, it still isn't this kind of stable happiness that I would wish for. But I'm a little better than earlier because I'm not so dependent all the time on everything being okay, because I'm being realistic. I don't think the whole world is going to be a great ideal place in my lifetime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you have any specific questions? I think those are quite profound reflections that you're sharing. But is there any specific question?
No, not really. But I just wanted to say that for me, genuine happiness is really by my nature connected with the happiness of others. And
Yeah,
that kind of person, it can be difficult. It can be difficult because not just that I have to change my own mind about myself, but I have to change my own mind also about what is possible in the world as it is today. And
yeah.
that's a tougher one, actually.
Yes, it is. It is. So I think Buddha was a very realistic person, Taraji,
Yes.
right? So he's not one of the
Right.
quality of being connected with reality. It has its own calming effect on the mind, right? Like you said that if you struggled with things which are out of your control, but then when reality kicks in that this is what I can do, this is what I can't do, and it's fine, right? And I would like to share a very beautiful story. Jatak Tales. Jatak Tales is that Buddha shared about his own past life, that he can recollect all his life. Buddha, being omniscient, knows about our past lives also and his past life. So he shared often very inspirational story, and one of them is quite close to my heart. That Buddha, in one of his past life, was a grey parrot, and the parrot was in a forest, right? And the forest caught fire, and then and this parrot was also very kind, and parrot was feeling very sad about all these animals burning in the jungle. It was a big fire, so parrot would fly like, little away and fill his beak with water from the lake nearby and just pour that little water on the jungle, right? So this is quite an inspirational story. Why? Because if you think very practically, did parrot have any chance to douse such a big fire just with his beak? No chance. Yet from parrot's side, the parrot did what he or she could do. This is what Buddha is trying to teach. And then Buddha said, because of my that act of kindness as a parrot, from a grey parrot in my immediate next life, I was born as a very colorful parrot. Buddha says that. And because of compassion.
Yes.
What Taraji is saying, that because of, when I feel more connected with others, I feel happier. This is compassion. Compassion is the ground for connection, right? It's a very natural way, and then people feel happy, others feel happy. There are no side effects.
Yes.
What often my teacher Geshe-la says, this is a very beautiful example, that what we are talking about, ultimate reality, it's like a tea strainer. Right? When you make tea, you boil tea, there are tea leaves, and then when you put it in a tea strainer, it gets filtered. So when we study, reflect, meditate on reality, on bodhicitta, we get this ability of a tea strainer, right? So all these negative experience, like she's saying, wars you read in newspapers or news articles or websites, it takes your mind down. Why? Because, for Buddha's mind doesn't go down. Buddha also sees these things. Buddha would help wherever there is receptivity, but then Buddha's mind doesn't go down. What is different between Buddha's mind and our mind is that Buddha has this ability of tea strainer, right? So as we get this greater ability, then the negativities we can face, yet we can maintain our mind without it going down and do whatever, like that parrot. And of course, Buddha, one of the qualities of Buddha is that Buddha can manifest like million, trillion, infinite times can manifest. If we have the karma, then we can get that connection. From Buddha's side, like a rain, there is no discrimination per se, right? So, and then one more thing is that be realistic in your expectation also, not for Taraji, for me, for all of us. When we start this journey, sometimes we hear very inspiring things, and then we can take like, our expectations can take a very big shape within us and we don't realize. And then it becomes a big source of our own disappointment. And then who will suffer? We'll suffer because our expectation in the first place were unrealistic. They don't get met. And then we said, this is not worth it. We'll drop off. And then it's back to the same rut. Then again, we're going back into the dream. And now we are saying it's not worth waking up. Right? Then that becomes a big problem. And this is what I've seen within me also sometimes, and a lot of my Dharma friends also. Very unrealistic expectations, Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that, Taraji.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's do a quick dedication. It's already 1:22. Let's do a dedication. I would, first of all, thank you all of you, who have come here in person and online. Thank you for joining. Whatever positive energy that we've gathered as a group. We had 101 things to do probably. We decided to do today what we did. Extremely meaningful to spend time on these kind of things. So whatever positive energy, let's dedicate this energy towards ourselves, towards our happiness, long-term happiness, and towards long life of all our teachers, gurus, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and then I would also include, for swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and spread of all centers, the word is Mahayana. Mahayana is for all centers which are, maybe labeled Mahayana, may not be labeled Mahayana, but the most important thing is there are centers like this, Tushita, which are working for benefit of others, which allow people like us to get together, explore these things. May these centers, may all volunteers, all people associated with such centers have a long life, obstacle-free life. These centers flourish. May more and more people get connected to such teachings so that they become kinder, wiser, and go towards this full awakening. Whether they're believers, non-believers, males, females, Indians, non-Indians, Westerners, Easterners, doesn't matter. Everybody has that potential. May they go towards awakening that potential. So, and then if there are loved ones, near and dear ones, whether alive, not alive, you feel close to them, include them in your dedication. If there are loved ones suffering from any illnesses, mental problems, financial problems, include them, send them positive healing energy. So we try and include each and every being. Okay, let's spend just a few seconds with this dedication. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And if you have any questions on these 3-day talk, if you have questions later, the email that I mentioned, Nalanda Courses at tibethouse.in, I'm part of that group. You can email me, or in case you are not able to write, Tushita, Nicola and all these volunteers are a very good friend of mine, so they'll pass the question to me. Okay, I'll be very happy to be connected if you have any questions. Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Have a good evening wherever you are. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Deepesh. And of course, so if you want to know more about these topics, we are hoping Deepesh will come again very soon.
Yes, we will try.
Actually, here in Delhi, we are so fortunate, and online as well these days. because we have a very, very, very qualified teacher, Geshe Dorji Damdul. Some of you might not know this, but the very reason I'm in Delhi, I've been in Delhi for the last 2 years. I came because I wanted to study in person with Geshe-la, you know. Before that, I was living in a monastery in France, in Nalanda Monastery, and I decided when my study program finished there, I decided to come all the way to Delhi to live here and study with Geshe-la in person. So Geshe-la is starting at the beginning of October a 14 months course that is called the Nalanda Diploma course, as Deepesh has been explaining. And it's in 14 months, you know, very systematically, like every week you'll have, I think, 2 classes. Very systematically, you will go through many different teachings. So in 14 months, you get a very good overview of the different aspects of the Buddha's teachings and how to develop your mind to find genuine happiness. And so the registration will start on Tuesday. We'll share the link also on our WhatsApp groups and so forth. So I really encourage you, if you're living in Delhi or as also online, you can join and you can follow just like we are following now. And also there are recordings that you can watch if you cannot, you know, come in real time. So yes, thank you very much. And thank you so much, Deepesh, and please come back very soon to Tushita.
This would have an exam at the end of the
There are quizzes. There are quizzes. There are. Here somebody is asking in person, are there exams? Okay, so we call them quizzes. We don't force anybody, but if anybody is interested in diploma, then quizzes are mandatory, you know. So out of those 14 months, there'll be a break also, like we start in October, 2nd October, the teachings will start. There'll be about a 3.5 week break in the winter. We restart mid of January sometime, and then we go till mid-May, and there's a 2-month break. And then we start again in August next year and go till December. So it's like divided into roughly 2.5 semesters. You know, we call it 3 semesters, but you know, starting October to December, Jan to May, and then August to December.
And the lectures would be held online or in person?
Both are possible, like the way we are doing right now. You know, we have Zoom and in person. Similarly at Tibet House, we have a different software. We may switch to Zoom also. We are exploring that right now. And right now we use it.
I registered last year for a certificate course, and I was completely lost because I couldn't get past the login page, and the online courses became very dense and complicated, and I just lost it.
Then you can talk afterwards, so you can end
Yeah,
the session.
yeah. So that's not a problem. You know what she's facing problems. Those are very simple. Yeah, very, very simple. It's not so complicated. Yeah. So it's not so complicated. We are available at email, and I'll help you, like Nicola said. Okay? All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye. Take care.